Hey, it's Doug with Backcountry Pilgrim. For several years now, I have been carrying an Esee Izula knife for my backpacking trips. It's a nice, small, lightweight knife, great blade. I've been very happy with it. But recently, I was sent this, the Minimalist Gear Kira Killer Knife. And this is a pretty different knife, and it is something that I wanted to check out, so I want to thank Minimalist Gear for doing so. Let me give you the stats and features on this knife, and then I'll tell you what I think about it. The Minimalist Gear Kira Killer Knife is American-made in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania by PHL Knives. This is a skeleton knife that does not come with any scales, nor to my knowledge are any offered. This is a Kiradashi style blade, which means that it runs straight from the grip to the tip and has a pretty extreme angle on the blade, kind of like an X-Acto knife. This makes it good for fine woodworking and carving. The knife is 5 inches overall with a 2-inch chisel edge blade, water jet cut from a single piece of virgin 1095 steel, and Cerakoted for durability, corrosion resistance, hardness, and adhesion, and comes in a couple different colors from FDE, flat dark earth, to OD, olive drab green. The knife by itself is only 2 ounces or 56 grams, and the sheath adds 1.4 ounces or 40 grams. To begin with, I found the Kira Killer to be a pretty sexy blade. It is just a nice looking piece. It's got a small handle that still allows me to get my ring finger on it, which is important for stability. The thumb ends up right on top of this deep jimping. It is ultra secure. You're not going to slip off of this. And it puts the pressure right on top of the blade for extreme pressure and control. One of the things I love about the Kira Killer is that this skeleton handle has rounded edges. It is super comfortable in the hand. There is no danger of cutting yourself or even leaving any deep imprints from an edge. The blade itself actually has 2 different styles of grind. It's more extreme on one side than the other, and so this gives it a lot of strength, even for a twisting drilling motion, but it can also be pretty sharp. The grip on the holster is pretty good. I had to shake this thing pretty hard to get the knife to fall out, but even when I wore it upside down on my backpack strap, I went for hours taking the pack on and off, never came out, never had any problem whatsoever, but it releases very quickly with a little bit of thumb pressure. It's also fairly easy to get back in. The blade just naturally finds that pocket, so it's not that difficult to reinsert. It comes with this screw-on snap with a Phillips head here and a regular here. You can take it off and put it in any one of the holes you want. So this can be reconfigured as a belt knife, it can be hung from a cord as a neck knife, or it can be simply snapped onto a backpack strap like I carry it. I did find the Kira Killer pretty cool to use when whittling around with wood. It does pretty decent shaving wood off. It also is very good as a drill if you're trying to make a hole. Now, I would have liked to have seen the Kira Killer come out of the box a bit sharper. It failed the paper test right out of the box, but it did do fine when it came to opening up packages and the kind of everyday things you might do on a little bit larger scale than the kind of fine cutting you would want to do with paper. So this is not something I'm going to try to shave with. However, when it comes to woodworking, it was a pretty pleasant tool to use. Now, is this going to replace my Esee Izula? Well, I think that they really have 2 pretty different functions. The Esee Izula is a bigger blade, it comes with a heavier and bulkier sheath, and if you don't remove the scales, it is still very lightweight, but if we are comparing ultralight to ultralight, the Kira Killer is gonna win. Now, while I have found the blade of the Esee Izula to be better in fine cutting situations, the Kira Killer was quite good as a skeleton knife because the grip was so much more comfortable. The Esee Izula was amazing with the scales on, but those add weight and volume. Once you take them off, you lose a bit of the weight, but the skeletonized version of the Esee Izula is not really the way it was meant to be carried, and it is not as comfortable to me as the Kira Killer is in the skeleton configuration. Of course, with the Esee, you have the choice. With this, you only get the skeletonized version. Another big factor is the price. The Minimalist Gear Kira Killer Knife comes in at $130. A bit steep of a price range for a knife like this, especially when you compare it to some of the other offerings on the market. So overall, I am impressed with the Minimalist Gear Kira Killer. When it is used for the functions it was made for, it does very well. Check out my video on the Esee Izula if you want a better comparison, and like and subscribe if you are into hiking, camping, backpacking, and the gear that goes with it. I am Doug. Thanks for watching.